Welcome back to the podcast. Sahil Patel is here from Spiralyze with a Y and a Z. Now, Sahil is the CEO of Spiralyze, which is a leading company who specializes in predictive CRO and data-driven landing page optimization. And they have accomplished so many amazing things. They've crawled 30,000 plus websites to identify effective A/B tests. They gave a minimum 30% increase in your conversion. So they're a predictive CRO agency for B2B SaaS. And we're going to find out what Sahil has accomplished, what that means for you. And there's always different layers, right? Of concentric circles. And sometimes you listen to a podcast, you're like, this is exactly me. Other times you're in some other industry and you're like, I'm not exactly the right fit for Sahil and his company, but I still pick up some insights. So no matter who we are, where we're coming from, we're going to pick some valuable advice. So Sahil, glad to be speaking with you.
I am really glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Robert.
Glad to have you on this Friday, but whenever someone listens, who knows what day of the week, what year it is. We're just creating some permanent content here that will live out there forever. And so in this moment in time, what are you excited about? What has you jazzed? What has you fired up?
Well, the first thing I'm excited about is just we have had a really strong year at Spiralyze. And I think the reason that demand has picked up is that chief marketing officers, who, by the way, average tenure is 18 months, so incredible pressure on them, have realized that the game of just buying more traffic is a really tough one to play. And it's expensive. The cost of customer acquisition, what marketers, kind of the jargon they use is CAC, keeps going up. And it's just not a winning game. And that instead, optimizing your landing pages so you get more customers from the traffic you're already getting is a much smarter, much more efficient way to make your website, which is, by the way, should be your most productive salesperson, way more productive.
And this is reassuring in a way, because whenever I think okay, I need to go out and get more, right? I need to get more traffic, run more ads. There's always the low hanging fruit in front of us, right? We say, well, instead of thinking about all these new ads I can run, all these new traffic sources, all this new, social posting, networking, SEO, etc., we're like, well, you have all this traffic coming to your site already, and you have the leaky bucket. You have all these people who are leaving or confused or not doing what you want to do. So there's money to be made in optimizing that website, which is sometimes not immediately intuitive for us, right? We're too close to it. We're the owner of the business, and you instead look at the data, look at what people do and how they convert and how they not convert. And so you're saying that the answer to this is some of these tools like A/B testing and predictive analytics. And so tell us about this, as far as this, what we're talking about now of people kind of needing to optimize their website. Where are they going wrong? What are they missing? What are they not even, they don't know that they don't know?
Well, maybe let's start with where they could go right, but they don't.
I like it.
The first thing they do on landing pages is what I call...
It's a landing page police calling.
It's a yeah. They have a lot of calls to make. Is cat food ad, dog food landing page. So you run an ad, could be on LinkedIn, could be on Facebook, could be Google search engine ad that makes a promise. And if it got someone to click, pretty good chance that the hook on the ad is working because it gets their attention and gets them to click, which is an incredibly hard thing to do. And when they click, they get to the landing page and the promise on the ad is not there on the landing page. It's either absent or it's hard to find. And it should it should be super obvious. Now, what's the first mistake people do? They run an ad, they have a hook, and they send that traffic to their homepage. Terrible idea. You can send it to a landing page that you've actually spun up for that ad traffic. But there's a ton of really good tools. Unbounce is one of them. Many that let you quickly spin up landing pages without having to write a lot of code or do heavy lifting. When you spin up that page, you should, if you've got if you're, I would say in kind of the beginner stages, you're just getting your sea legs and maybe you don't have a big team or necessarily a kind of a high level of sophistication about it. Just the simple thing I would do is take the that hook that's in your ad. Say it's a Google search engine, and I would literally copy paste it and make it the headline on the landing page. So the mistake I see, let's say you're an ad, say you're competing in the CRM space, super crowded. There's like more than 1,000 companies selling CRM software. And maybe yours is the best CRM software for beauty salons. It's a nice niche. And the ad says, easiest to use software for beauty salon, or easiest to use CRM for beauty salons. Like, I would just take that and I would paste it and that would make that the headline instead of using your default headline that's probably on your homepage. It just says something kind of very generic. It's going to get people to stay. The second thing I would do, now this is in the world of B2B SaaS, is show your product on the page. It's software. In our A/B test, showing the product gets more conversions than pictures of happy people. There's kind of a mythology that you should show your users, show them being happy, that they're gaining joy and satisfaction from using your product. The fact is, your audience doesn't care. They don't want to see happy people. They came there to buy the product. A great example would be, Robert, let me ask you, can you think of the last car advertisement you saw?
Not exactly specifically, but I'm
Just
sure I've
conjure one
seen
up.
one in the last 2 days.
Conjure
Yeah.
one up. Yeah, maybe it was on TV, maybe it was in a magazine or something. Describe to me what's coming to mind for you. What's in
What's
the
coming
ad?
to mind is the car, usually like a strong bold color, like a deep red or something, kind of shiny and like at a little bit of an angle. It's never the car like straight on. It's always kind of like either parked or moving, just like kind of at like a 45-degree angle.
But showing the car, and it looks
Yeah.
cool. Now, it's not showing you how the engine works or where the carburetor is, but it's showing the car. It might show some people interacting with the car. Now, imagine that same ad and just subtract the car. And then you just had the people. Would you even know that it's a car ad?
No, it's like any
No,
other ad, right? It's just generic.
it's just generic. So I see this common generic stock photography of happy people is a bad idea. Just show the product. And if you don't know what to show, or you have a complicated product, or you have a multi-feature product, just ask your sales reps, hey, where's the moment in the demo where the audience goes, wow? And they'll tell you, and you go, okay, take that screenshot. It doesn't matter a lot whether, like, if it's a specific feature that your audience cares about. They're reacting instinctively at this point. What you're trying to show them is, hey, there's something cool here, and we just want you to take that next step. Number 3 mistake I see is filling the page with lots of content and making that content hard to read. The web rewards skimmability. So long wall of text, long page, 3 or 4 scrolls. By the way, if you do some heat mapping, you'll see most people don't. Half your audience doesn't look past the top section of the page, what people call the hero section. And the remaining 50%, most of them go maybe one scroll deep. And then they've made up their mind. They're going to stay or they're going to leave. So, now, by the way, I think all of us who work in MarTech have a big apology to make, because for 10 years, we've either endorsed or practiced this idea of keyword stuffing. Hey, put as many of the keywords that your audience cares about, because Google will send people there. And I think 10 years ago or more, that was a kind of a cheap trick, but it worked. It doesn't work that well anymore. And a much better way to get people to find you and to stay is to write easy to skim content. A simple headline, 3 bullets, make them crisp, add a little bit of formatting, get rid of the wall of text. Again, in our A/B test, shows you can increase your conversion rate by 10 to 15% just by making the copywriting easier to skim.
This is all very valuable advice. These are all some rich ideas, right? Because many times we're missing out on the fundamentals, and but the problem that can exist with fundamentals is sometimes they're like these cliches that have been passed along since the 1950s. But then what you're bringing to us are these kind of like data driven conclusions, right? You say, hey, we tried all these things, we saw all these things that are wrong, and here's why it works, and we've thought this through and said, hey, here's why your web page needs to be skimmable. Here's why you should show your product. Here's why the hook of your ad should match the hook of your landing page. And it's all very like doable. And now that you say it in hindsight, like, of course it seems obvious. And these are things that we can all apply today, right? We can all just have another pass, take another look at, okay, well, was I optimizing my ads on their own and my landing pages on their own? And if I go and I click, am I going from the ad to a dedicated landing page or to the home page, or what's on that landing page match what's on the ad? These are all things that we can and should check just to fix some of this stuff up. And so I imagine that this is a lot of what you do, right? Like you do this kind of like done for you A/B test. And so like I assume that these are kind of like the top problems that we need to look at, or the big things that we need to fix. And so just as far as what you've seen, what you've done, what has like really like interested you or surprised you as far as these landing page changes you've made?
I'll give you something that has surprised me. One of the things that dramatically improves landing page conversion rates is removing or minimizing the navigation bar at the top of the page. And the reason is the nav bar is a distraction. And when someone comes to your landing page, them navigating a way to read about your mission statement is an escape door. They walk out that door, they might not walk back in. Now, landing page content, not everyone's ready to convert, and they often want to find out more. They're going to do that by navigating to your main website, looking at the homepage, reading a case study, looking at some social proof, who else is using it. So you don't want to remove that option. What has worked well, again, in direct A/B tests is doing a minimal header, which means just keep your company logo in the top left. So if someone wants to find out more, they click that top left. I think it's very instinctive for everyone, where they tap that top left, and it'll take them to your homepage, and then they can read more content. But get rid of all the other escapes. Also, I would say kind of part B there, don't put a low intent offer on a high intent page. Let's see this all the time. Someone invests, they've got traffic coming to their site, they've got a landing page that explains why their product is unique, it's different, it's distinct. They show the product, it's easy to skim, and then the logical next step is maybe it's sign up for that 7-day free trial. Great, you've almost got someone there, and at the top in the masthead, it'll show like sign up for our webinar next November, download our ebook. This is a low intent offer on a high intent page. There's nothing wrong with driving people to webinars or to read case studies. But this is not the place to do it. You know, this is someone comes into your restaurant, you offer them a table or a seat at the bar. Now's not the time to tell them to come back next month when you're running a special.
That makes a lot of sense. And so a lot of this seems to be like being more careful about human nature, right? Like if I go on a page, I might just, and there's all these links to click, I might just get like subliminally overwhelmed, or I might be just kind of bored from being on this page and just click on a link and just to see what happens. And I like tapping in to the more like app focused mindset, right? It seems like up until I don't know, like mid 2000s, everything was kind of like desktop program, Windows based. Even like the phones and the tablets, they were still kind of like that, just like the desktop kind of feel. And then when apps happen and they were like, hey, you got a mobile device, you got a screen, and it can do a lot, but it's like small. Then they were like, okay, now the real estate has to be more minimal. And then you started seeing like the web pages with the hamburger navigation, right? Like it's all hidden, And if you want to navigate, it'll pop it out, but then it's not right there in front of you, so you can have more of this focus. And so it's helpful to kind of hear about this from you, because some of these ideas like take repetition in order to digest. And so you've had all these amazing adventures, right? You deliver, or you offer guarantee results, 38% lift in 90 days. And so
30%. Just
oh, okay.
I just wouldn't want someone to walk away and be like, oh, 38%. So sorry to
Well,
interrupt. 30%. Yeah, 30% lift.
30% is correct?
Yeah, 30% lift in 90 days.
So you need to fix that web page there. It says 38%.
Oh, is it on the webpage? You know, I bet we're running an A/B test on the different numbers.
I like it. And so,
Yeah.
so fair enough. And so, nothing's ever perfect, or sometimes you're like doing tests and running things. And I love stories like that, right? I love hearing about the nitty gritty, like you've been sharing. And so, is there like a specific like company brands that you've helped, or like a real story that can really give us an idea of how you work your magic?
Yeah, I would be happy to share that. I'm going to share one that we just did this. It's a marketing community called CMO huddles, like Chief Marketing Officer huddles. And if you go check out their website right now, you can see we help them with their homepage and their landing pages. And here's I'll give you the kind of the short version. One is their old homepage. It didn't tell the story. Number one. Number two, it didn't explain what was different about joining the CMO huddles community versus there's other marketing communities. There's Pavilion, there's Coffee Talk, there's Exit 5, all great B2B marketing communities. What was different about this? And then there was nothing visually exciting about the page. And then third, it did not do a good job of showing their social proof. So those are the big challenges. That was their starting point. And it really starts with, and the job of every homepage is not to get people to buy. It's not to explain why you're better than your competitors. And it's not to tell the founder story. It's just to get people to stop scrolling and stay. I call that the 1 second test, because it happens in about the first 1 second that someone lands on your homepage. And the first thing they ask is, am I in the right place? And this happens on a very quick kind of psychological level. By the way, your brain processes images faster than words. Think about words, right? You got to read it, you got to synthesize it, your brain's got to do it. Now, we all do that pretty quickly, but it takes more than a second compared to an image. Look at an image, you see an image of a car, your brain instantly goes, car, SUV, black, luxury, faster than if someone just held up a sign with those words on it. So that's what we help them do with their new homepage. It is first, why are they different than other communities? Show an image of their product. By the way, their product, it's not a software product, it's a community. So we showed an image of 4 people in the community interacting with each other. And then we made the copywriting easy to skim.
I love it. And I have CMO huddles open and I have Spiralyze open, and I like the fun of both of these web pages, right? It's somehow minimalist, but also has a lot of stuff. And it's like the colors are pleasing and the text is big and there's a lot to do, but I also don't feel like I'm being pulled in 5 different directions. And I feel like every block of page scroll, it's like a different layout, right? There's like an opt-in form here, and then there's like multiple columns of like company brand logos there, and there's like bullet points there, and there's like a horizontal scroll there, and there's like a FAQ there. It's like it keeps my interest, and it feels very kind of like tested and tweaked, and you've like there's not overly fluff, but it also there's enough there for us to make sense. And so it's cool that like sometimes you look at a web page and you're like, I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to, why I like this, right? I'm not sure why
What is it?
my conclusions are supposed to be, especially like if it's not if it's not a web page for me, right? I go to CMO Huddles or I go to Spiralyze. I'm like, well, hey, I'm not looking for this, but then from like a great grander scale, like what's good about this, or like what am I supposed to take away as far as what Sahil did as far as like putting it together. And so this is a cool conversation. You've shared so much, and I want to make sure as we're getting near the end here that we cover the bases and we talk about what you want to talk about, right? Because we kind of geeked out a little bit about the landing pages A/B test, but in our conversation here, is there a missing, hidden, invisible question that I should be asking you, and I just don't know to ask it of you?
Well, first of all, I think you've asked great questions, Robert, and you're a great host. And by the way, what you're doing is much harder than what I have to do because as a guest, I get to come on and geek out about conversion rate optimization, and I love it. It's like my favorite thing, and I can talk about it all day. What you're doing, which is you have to be knowledgeable and flexible and fast thinking on your feet because I know you have a bunch of hosts or a bunch of guests on the show, and each one of them, you got to know something and keep the conversation flowing. So I think you ask great questions. If I'm going to do a shameless self promo, and I will because I am a shameless self promoter, I would invite anyone listening to check out LinkedIn, Sahil Patel. I post Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Always something short, quick, something that you can use, and I try to add a little bit of entertainment value. I have a game show called CRO Crimes. We play games for points and picking apart web pages, rewriting headlines, playing buzzword bingo. The winner gets $100 for their charity. It's a fun way to get some kind of eat your veggies content, which is how do you make digital marketing more effective? How do you make websites convert better in a fun way?
And I think that something like that we need to be considering for our own business, right? How can we take this topic that maybe it's exciting for us, but if we want to reach new people, how do we make it more fun? And like in school, we've all had like days when like they like in the history class, right? They say like, hey, we're gonna play Jeopardy today, right? Like that we're gonna do it, make the class into a game show, and so that's interesting to think about. That like what can we do and what are you doing as far as kind of like reaching new people, or maybe if someone should be digging into this, right? They should be learning about A/B testing or about conversion in their business, or they should be getting educated enough to contact you and hire your company. And like you raise awareness by making it fun. You integrate the charity component. You just kind of like, add the excitement to what you have. So Sahil Patel on LinkedIn, you search SAHIL PATEL, because you and I both know that when we're marketing and we're trying to get these conversions, repetition is important, right? We can't just
You nailed
mention
it.
the URL in passing. Even on a podcast where someone's listening, we have to have the repeat call to action. And speaking of that, tell us about the call to action of Spiralyze. That's why we're here, right? Like this is your company, and how does someone know if they're the right size, right fit, right kind of person, company for what you guys do?
Yeah, so Spiralyze, our specialty is B2B SaaS companies. We help take your website, the traffic that's already coming there, convert more of it into customers. Our best fit customers are ones that have at least a headcount of 100 people, annual recurring revenue of 30 million, and they're getting somewhere around 50 or more inbounds a month, high value inbounds. For most B2B SaaS, by the way, that's like that demo request, start a free trial, talk to sales. If you're anywhere in the neighborhood of that, it might be a good time for us to talk.
Very nice. And so if you meet those criteria, if you're the right fit, then the logical next step, do we go to the homepage or is there a special landing page for this?
You can go to the homepage. We have a big CTA right in the hero. You can't miss it.
Very nice. And that is Spiralyze.com. Spiralyze, predictive CRO agency for B2P SaaS. And we have been speaking with Sahil Patel, who has shared these secrets from optimizing over 34,000 landing pages for SaaS leaders like CrowdStrike, ActiveCampaign, and Deal by leveraging a prediction engine that harnesses the collective wisdom and data from over 130,000 A/B tests. This is an important subject, especially moving forward with the AI and the EEAT and the SEO. Who knows what the next Google slap is? Who knows how the next competition's going to be. We always hear about like attention span being less and people on social and the TikToks. And so we need to stay ahead and stay on the cutting edge and stay competitive and implement some of these tools, such as looking at the data, looking at how people react and running tests. But it can be confusing, overwhelming if you try to do it yourself. And so this is why Sahil is here. Because he loves the stuff, he eats, breathes, and sleeps it, and so you need to take this seriously and contact him and his team if you want to get that demo. As he said, Spiralyze.com. You can't miss it. There's that big, huge hero button, and you take the next step and you get on your way to perhaps 3x higher win rates than legacy A/B testing by using their prediction engine. So as people are going to Spiralyze.com, it's time, Sahil, to put you on the spot a little bit. And I like to ask my guest about a fun quote or lesson that has helped them that you can pass on to us. And so, what comes to mind for you to help us out with a fun quote or lesson?
Well, I'll take a quote from my favorite movie, which is The Empire Strikes Back. And I think everyone knows this one where Yoda tells Luke, do or do not, there is no try. My interpretation of that is not that literally there is no such thing as an attempt. Of course there is. But I think the context of that scene where Luke tries to raise his sunken X-wing fighter out of the swamp and he doesn't do it, and then Yoda shows him how to do it, is that what Yoda's telling him is that when you're doing something, you have to remove all doubt in your mind. It doesn't mean doubt doesn't exist or that doubt can't be helpful, because it helps you assess risk and it helps you kind of gauge what you need to put in. But at the moment you're doing something, you want to be fully present. You want to fully commit yourself. You want to excise all that doubt and just go for it. And I think that's a great lesson in life, whatever the setting.
100%. I'm in complete agreement. Believe in that positive outcome when you're going for it. Don't try, don't attempt. There's a time and a place for that. But when you're going for it, actually go for it, including when we're going to spiralyze.com and seeing what's there, and also adding Sahil Patel on LinkedIn. So that way you can check out that game show and check out those posts. Very educational, very entertaining. It's been a lot of fun geeking out a little bit with you.
Robert, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.